To have a better now or today, you need a bigger future. What am I talking about? It's 2025, and so many of us have resolutions and goals, things that we want to accomplish. But I bet that most of the things that you have resolved to do in terms of the goals are too small. And when I say that they're too small, if you were to imagine just making more money, $10,000 more in a year, or losing some weight, 10, 15 pounds, well, if we were to brainstorm how to go about doing that, you can probably come up with 20, 30 different ways. But if we were to 10x it and say, how would I lose 30 pounds? How would I make $50,000 more this year? Well, now we can only probably come up with one or two ways. And that's going to require a lot more from us today in terms of our discipline, in terms of the way that we spend and allocate our time, in terms of our schedule, diet. Everything would have to change. And when I say change, I'm actually talking about transformation. I was listening to Garrett White, who was teaching on change and transformation. And what he was saying was that, to illustrate, that if you had a triangle and you took that triangle and turned it on its side, well, now you've changed it. But it's still a triangle. We could take that triangle that's now on its side and turn it upside down. And we've also changed it again, yet it's still a triangle. To get transformation, we have to find out how to turn that thing into a circle, or into a square, or into a rectangle, and then it is actually something different. So when we think about some of the goals that we have, we like to keep them small enough where we can change, but it's not going to require transformation. However, the thing that really lights us up when we think about the different motivational sayings that we hear on social media and about you can do anything you set your mind to, and new year, new me, and all these different things, they are possible, but not the way you currently are. You and me have to transform to become somebody else. Does that mean who you are is not good enough? Well, of course, essentially, we're all good enough. We're human. The fact that we're alive right now, and if you listen to me, you're probably in America, then yes, you're qualified to do just about anything that you put your mind to. However, we're not really putting our minds to things, are we? So let's do it this way. There's a guy named Dan Sullivan. He wrote a book called 10X is Easier Than 2X. Well, how could that be? He said, well, because if we, instead of looking to be a little bit better and look to be a lot better, then that's going to require you to cut out a lot of the BS that you do throughout the day. Let's look at it this way. To learn something new, to gain experience and expertise, to now be able to apply it to our lives in such a way that we can be more, do more, have more, is going to require us to begin to use our time better and focus our time on what we need to actually do. So it's kind of math, right? So if I have 24 hours in a day and I'm sleep 8 of those hours, and I have so many other hours that might be dedicated to my current job or to my family or whatever, let's say that I only have 3 or 4 hours to myself in a day. Well, how do you currently use that time? That is your discretionary effort. There's something called the Pareto principle that says that 20% of your effort is responsible for 80% of your outcome. Well, if in 4 hours, whatever my life currently is as a result of what I'm doing with 20% of that 4 hours, then I now need to change how I go about using that time. As a matter of fact, what if I switched it around? And so in my 4 hours, I started spending 3 of those hours, which would be 75%, on the things that yield me the greatest result, and only the minority, the 25%, on the things that I just like to do. That is now going to multiply or collapse time in such a way that it doesn't take me as long to get to the place that I want to go. And so if we increase the size of our goals, then we have to focus more. Then we have to start saying no more to other people who look to pull you into their events or to hang out or just to do things that are out of alignment with what you know needs to be done to get what it is that you want to have. You also have to learn to say no to yourself, to that thing that you wanted to eat, that place that you wanted to go, where you wanted to spend that money. Why? Because now I am allocating 80% towards the thing, the goal, and just 20% of my discretionary time towards just the random. And is the random important? Sure. However, if we're serious about this resolution, if we're serious about this goal, then we're going to have to transform. And so this transformation means basically dying to who we used to be and living to something new. Because all we really are our habits. The things that you do every single day have made your life what it currently is. And to drastically change them, like as in 80% of what we do or how we spend our time, would actually cause you to be somebody else. So let's look at it this way. Same guy, Garrett White, he's teaching on this transformation thing. And he says, let's say that your goal is to get from A all the way over to G. For you to get from A to G in your mind is too far. And that's what people sometimes do, is they go cold turkey, right? Or they have these extremely lofty goals, which are fine. They are possible. However, the distance is so far, and if you've never done this before and you don't know how to get there, the likelihood for you to quit along the way or stop short is high. But if you had a coach, if you had a book, a formula, a science, something to show you how to get not only to G, but how do I get to B? A smart coach, that's what they're going to do. They're going to take you from A to B, because just getting your mind, body, soul acclimated to making the change, or rather the transformation, which is dying to something that we were used to, is going to take a little bit. And so we're going to get you from A just to B. And then from B over to C. And then from C over to D. But guess what happens when we get to D? The person that you are at D is totally different than the person you were at A. Now you have a new set of skills, habits, mindset, way of operating that is different than the person you used to be. And now G ain't so far. It's in your sights, and you know that it can be done. So to say having a coach, a book, a science, a formula, probably the easiest way to go about this is getting the coach. And some of us, we get caught up in, well, what is that going to cost? Well, better question, what has it cost you not to have the coach? To be having Groundhog Day year after year. When I look at my life from 2020 till now, I say, well, it's been Groundhog Year. I've been doing the same thing, repeating the same thing, not getting to where it is that I want to go. And so to now say, hey, well, I'm going to hire somebody, a coach. Well, if I spend that money, doesn't that put me back over to A or B? Yeah, you take a step back to take 5 steps forward. And that's the key, to be willing to do that, to once again, transform, to become something totally different. And some of us, it takes us longer to die than others. But being willing to die to the old habits, the old routine, the old method, and replace it with not just new habits, not just new stuff, but with the right stuff. We don't want to just do more stuff. We want to do what's required to get from A to G. However, we might not know what's required unless we're dealing with a coach or somebody who knows how to get there. And so my advice to you for 2025, if you have resolutions, I say make them bigger. Then there's only 1 or 2 ways to get there. And because there's only 1 or 2 ways and it is harder, you're going to need help. There's a book called Who, Not How. And in that book, what they say is, instead of asking the question, how can I do X, Y, or Z? A better question is, who can help me? And that's where your coach comes in. And so if you're looking for help with goals, getting to where it is that you're looking to go, I have put together a system where I'm going to be coaching in 2025, coaching and consulting. And all you have to do is click on the link that is at the top of the description. It'll take you to a short video where I'll explain what's going on, and we'll be able to see you on the other side if you decide to do that coaching. Anyway, this is Carl Latting of King's Congress, and we'll see you in the next video.